Please rise.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Just like to let everybody know that this meeting is being recorded. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lemay?
Here.
Mr. Moran?
Yeah.
Mr. Tatsias?
Here.
Mr. Gigi?
Here.
Mr. O'Hare?
Here.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Here.
Mr. Booton?
Here. Okay, Mr. Gigi, is there anybody here from the public that would like to speak tonight?
Mr. Chairman, no one's reported in.
Thank you. Next up, I have school committee communications. Does anybody have any communications for the committee? I do have one. I received an email from the president of the teachers organization asking her to be a part of the superintendent search committee. So I wanted to pass that along to everybody.
You're gonna have one representative?
She just said she wanted to be included. I invited her to come.
Agree to it.
I invited her to come tonight to speak, to be here, that we'd be speaking about it. But she did communicate to me, so I figured I'd bring it up in open session, that she's interested in being a part of the selection process.
Who is?
What's that? Okay. Any other,
I'm sorry, I'm losing track of who that letter is from, Mr. Booth?
Cheryl Baumel?
Oh, okay.
From the Teachers Union. I think she CC'd everybody on the email that she wanted to be included in the superintendent search.
Is that up for discussion now, or
We can talk about that a little
It's
bit.
just a communication I received from her.
Okay.
I responded back only to her. You know, instead of, I can't reply to everybody in the email, invited her to come tonight, that we'd be speaking about the process tonight and how we'd be doing it. Okay.
Is this customary?
It's not anything we've done before, as far as the two superintendent searches I've belonged to. She did make mention that Lowell has done it in a couple other communities, but I think in Lowell's case, Joe, they had a selection committee. It wasn't, in the past, we've done a committee as the whole. All 8 of us have, gone down to the different schools that the applicants were from. We were the ones who met. It was the 8 members that took this upon ourselves, so some of the options we'll talk about later. We could hire somebody, we could hire a company to come in and screen the applicants. We didn't do that before, but it's an option. We could add more people to our selection committee. We could add less, but it's something to discuss, as a whole later.
So we're gonna talk about this later?
Yeah, I'll bring, at new business, we'll bring all that up. Okay? Any other communications? Okay, if we can now have Mr. Blatus for the report of the student representative. Thank you and welcome.
So for organization and clubs, the outing club recently took a trip to Neshoba Valley ski area for a snow tubing trip. Students were able to learn top roping, lead climbing, bouldering, and different climbing routes, all while learning how to work as a team. The NTHS organized a successful Valentine's Day flower fundraiser. They sold carnations in the cafeteria the week of February 8th to February 14th. They are also planning to host a food drive in March. The Greater Lowell students will be participating in the 16th annual Lowell Winterfest Saturday, February 25th in downtown Lowell. Our students will be volunteering to assist with Lola's Kids Party, downtown horse-drawn sleigh rides, the North Bowl soup competition, and outdoor ice games. Our dance club is also planning a performance for the event. Skills USA in-house winners are gearing up for the district competition that will be held here at Greater Lowell on Thursday, March 16th. Students are meeting after school to prep for the competition. They also hosted a successful talent show on February 15th after school, where all the students had an opportunity to showcase their wide variety of skills. The senior class planning committee is planning for a number of senior activities and getting ready to sell prom tickets at the end of March. The junior class hosted their junior prom at Lindsay's and is planning a bowling trip for the month of March. For athletics, our swim and dive program had one of its best seasons in program history. The team finished with a final regular season record of 9-1. The boys team also captured the state vocational championship meet. while the girls' team finished as runners-up. Both teams also qualified multiple athletes for the MIAA North Sectional meets. For the cheer team, they recently competed in both the Lowell Invitational and CAC League competitions, capturing first place in Division I at the CAC competition and once again qualified for D1 regionals. The Lady Griffins basketball team, despite fielding a very young and inexperienced roster, sits only one game away from the MIAA tourney qualification going into the final stretch of the regular season. The Lady Griffins will look to qualify in one of their remaining games over the next 2 weeks. For boys basketball, they have qualified for the MIAA tourney for a fourth straight year, currently standing at a 12-3, going to the final 2 weeks of the regular season play. The Griffin wrestlers recently wrapped up a very successful dual meet season, standing at 22-4-3, leading into the final week of the regular season. The team also had several place winners at the state vocational meet on January 28, 2017, as well as the North Regionals tournament on February 11, 2017. And that is it.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Blatus.
Thank you.
Was part of the very successful wrestling season.
Yes, he was.
He had a great season. Congratulations.
Good job, Anthony. To you and your team.
Is it over? Andrew, is it over?
Anthony.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Yep. More tomorrow? Okay.
And they have the states.
Okay, next, we have the approval of the minutes from January 12th. Entertain a motion to accept the minutes by Mr. O'Hare, second by Mr. Moran.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes. Next, a report of the treasurer, approval of warrants. Entertain a motion to waive the reading by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Tatsias.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yep.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes. I'd like to entertain a motion to approve the expenditures for the sum of $4,491,737.45 by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Tatsias.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias? Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes. We fortunately have no report from the general counsel. Next up, I'll turn it over to the superintendent for his report.
Thank you, Mr. Booton. I just have two items. The first one is the monthly cooperative education report. Very happy to report that there are 189 seniors out. It's a 4% increase over last year, and it's the first time I think that we've ever hit 40%. We hit the magic 40% number. So,
Fantastic.
yeah, so
Congratulations.
Stacy was ecstatic when she gave me the report. So a lot of hard work and a lot of effort. And the only other item I have is I just request that we go into executive sessions at the conclusion of the meeting, just to discuss how you want to proceed with negotiations moving forward. We've been notified by several of the unions. We have 7 contracts expiring on June 30th. So if we could just go into executive session and start to formulate how we want to proceed, would be good.
Is that 4 years already?
3. So they had
Thought it
3.
was a 1 and a 3.
That was the teachers. The teachers are next year.
okay.
Yeah, so this is the other 7. And we got them staggered so that 7 of them expire at the end of this year, and then the teachers will expire at the end of next year. By quick, yeah.
All 7 are 3 year?
7 are 3 years, and then the teachers, which is the largest one, was a 1 and a 3. So they'll expire a year from this June. So they used to all expire in the same year, and what we did was we purposely last time tried to get them to stagger so that we didn't have all of them. And so we have the 7 small unions in 1 year and the very large union in the other year. Yep,
Should make it somewhat a little easier for the next superintendent.
a little bit easier.
There's gonna be a new
For the new guy? Oh, a new girl,
He's not leaving.
a new person.
Lock the door.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the report of the business manager. Ms. Turner? That's okay, thank you.
That was quick. So the first update is the budget. The superintendent and I have been working together with leadership to develop the FY18 budget. We have a finance subcommittee meeting scheduled for February 28th at 5 p.m. and March 21st, so that was revised. March 21st and March 23rd is the public hearing.
Over 5 p.m.
And then the next update is, we need to vote, sorry.
For 1 second, were these, didn't we request changing these dates?
She just did.
She did.
said it.
They're in
I'm
red.
sorry, I was looking at something else. So these are 21? Oh, that's the sheet I was just starting to look at, thank you.
The red dates are the changes.
Okay, thank you.
The next item is the transfers. We need to vote on the list of transfers, which is the second page.
Okay, motion by Mr. Espinola to approve the transfers, second by Mr. Bahu.
Mr. Lemay?
Question, we're not doing individually, we're voting on the bottom line,
Yes,
91,000?
91,346.
Yes,
47.
yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola? Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes.
The next item is an update on the financing. We recently sold the short-term financing. We weren't planning on doing short-term financing this year, but our local share has increased and the MASBO audit wasn't completed as we thought we would have, so we had to do short-term financing for the year. That and the long-term bond, which was just sold on February 14th, both have occurred. On this list that you have, or the narrative that you have, it was talking about 9.5 million in the long-term band being at a 4% coupon rate. That was a conservative estimate. It came in at 2.6%. So if you looked at the, this sheet right here, this is the this is the model that the First Southwest prepared for us, and it shows that our cost it increased up to $866,000 according to their estimate. That dropped down to $817,000 now. So it was, came in better than we expected. Anyhow,
Is that figure proportionate with all the districts?
yes, actually,
So it's actually gonna go down?
we spent more, so the overall cost is more than what you originally expected. But when they built in that increase, they did it at a 4% increase, a 4% interest rate. It ended up being 2.6. So the increase is not as big as we thought. And on this model, you see that if you see the amount that we're going to pay this coming year for FY18 is 1.6 million, and then it's distributed throughout the communities. All those numbers have been updated to reflect the Department of Ed formulas and the updated figures. Because again, the sale just occurred 2 days ago. So we had to give you something like estimates, but the sale occurred 2 days ago, and we have a stack this big to sign tonight and to vote on.
This motion that Joe has to read, the numbers in here are correct.
Yes. So, yeah, the long stuff that he'll read will have all the actuals.
Mr. Espinola?
Is this the last bond buy that we have, or we need to do some more bond buying?
So this is what they tried to do because of the, the interest rates being low. They tried to get as much of the long-term financing done now. But we did do a short-term ban as well to get us through the next year. And even after we do this small ban, the short-term short-term QZAB, at the end, they'll have 287,000 additional to finance, but that's based on the numbers that James Reefstyle gave now, so about 287,000.
Okay, so the numbers are looking better than we had thought originally.
No.
Sounds like it's gone lower.
It's kind of confusing because it's like, so the original estimate, the local share is actually higher than you guys originally predicted. So the amount of short-term interest that we'll pay for this year, we didn't expect to have to do another short-term borrowing for this year because they thought the audit would be complete by now, the MSBA audit. It hasn't even started. So if that goes, they told us it would take about a year. So as James was talking about earlier, the final reimbursement request will trigger the audit. That will take about a year. So we needed short-term borrowing for the year because we're still waiting for the 5% that MSBA has. But, so it's more than what we thought, about $30,000 more. I can show you a comparison if you want me to prepare a comparison report. So it did increase, but the increase is not as drastic as we thought because they did it at 4%, not the 2.6% that we actually got, which was done 2 days ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So we're looking at, a year from now, having everything all taken care of after they've done their audit, everything's all set. And would that bond interest be where we thought it was gonna be, or is it gonna be higher or lower?
So the borrowing that we just did, the bonds that we just sold and the note that we just sold should cover most of it. But because the local share keeps changing, if the local share increases, like James spoke to them, and when he spoke to them and told them a couple of little trail-in projects, that made them think that we might have $287,000 to borrow in short-term bans next year. That's based upon the numbers that keep on fluctuating with James, the final cost, so. But yeah, we're gonna, all the major borrowing is done.
Okay, Mr. Bourgeois.
I'm confused because you keep saying short-term and.
So Joe, I think I can clear it up. Until the project gets closed out by MSBA, they hold back 5% of our reimbursement. So the short-term bond is to pay the 5% until they release it after it closes out. Then they'll bond it permanently like this.
And that was my question.
Sorry.
When we bond it out in a year, what is the projected interest rate? Do we have
Well,
an
whatever the
idea?
interest rate would be a year from now. They usually carry 4% like they did here.
Yeah.
Like this locks in the 9 million at
Okay.
2.6,
All right,
right?
so we're just out in the air.
So 97% of the project is all bonded and locked in.
Right.
It's just the 5% that we're waiting to get reimbursed for until it closes
All right,
out.
that was
we're
my-
carrying with the short-term note, and then that will become a permanent
Okay, so
bonded
that's
note
my
later.
question, that was
Okay.
my question, like, so that the 90% of it has already been bonded, we're all set with that.
Locked in. This
and
is the
it's just
second bond
the
sale.
remnants,
Yeah.
okay.
This is the second bond sale. We did one about halfway through the project for the first half of the project. This is the second half of the project, and it's the 5% holdback that we have to
Okay.
bond until they close the.
All right, I get it now, thank you.
Mr. Espinola, you said, good. Mr. Lemay?
I think down the road, though, we should be cognizant of the fact that the Fed will probably be going up a couple of times this year. So, as soon as either March or April, based on what I see.
So the good news is if it goes up, it's
I
a
know
very
that.
small, it's the smallest part of the bond. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? I thought the bonds were related to bonds themselves and not the prime interest rate from the Federal Reserve. Is it possible bonds could fluctuate? It's not based on the interest rate.
No.
The Fed funds rate, sorry.
No, we actually had to do an S&P ratings call, so the
Okay.
S&P had to do an interview with me, and they ask all these economic conditions of the different communities, and they know these because they investigate too, but we got the top ratings, and then they base our interest rate, our ratings, which is really like your credit score, so to speak. We got the highest we could get, then they throw it out to bid. No, we're locked in at the 2.6%, it won't fluctuate, it's not a variable rate.
Exclusive, they don't have to do it with each other.
So then the other question, can this be, in 5 years, can we bid these out, or are we locked in at 2.6?
No, there's no prepayment penalty, but I'm sure we could refinance if you're talking about refinancing.
Yes,
Not locked in 5 years.
okay. So we can refinance if it should
Well, I
drop
can confirm that, but I
significantly.
read something that there weren't any prepayment or, any restrictions, but
If we could just double check on that. And then my last question is, you had mentioned 2.65, 2.66?
No, 2.6.
flat? The document we have here is saying 3%.
that's what they have, let me see. That's from the legal counsel, that's from the bond counsel that did it. Oh, no, this is from this is your original. So this one is from the original interest rate, your original principal, from the first one from last year that was signed at 3%.
Okay, and where does it have in here the 2.6 I missed?
It's actually 1.6 for the 1.9 million, because you know how I'm talking about the short term, that's 1.9.
Okay,
And then the other ones, they just,
I saw a couple of numbers, I even missed the 1.6.
the 1.6 is on the second.
Oh, I saw that when you
Page
pointed it out.
2,
Yeah,
Yeah, page
Do you see
second
2.6?
page.
2, second paragraph.
no, that's the 1.6.
No, I've got the 1.6.
Let me call, the lawyer, because they just sent this over, this is the modified one. Can you hold this for a second so I can check the bond?
Why don't we table this, Mr. Chairman, till,
I guess I have a further question when she comes back that, the way I read this, this wasn't a past 3%.
It is 3%, it's 2.6, the papers they sent to me, it says 2.6 plus they add a 0.4 coupon rate, which is like a premium on the bond, so it is 3%.
instead of 4.
Okay, so this isn't a past, this is the current.
It
Okay,
is,
so
it is. Because what it is we're getting a net thing of 2.6, so the papers that they sent to me were 2.6, which is 2.6 plus they call it a coupon, like a premium that they add, which is 0.4.
So our annual percentage rate, for lack of a better term, is 3%.
It's actually 2.6, but they give us extra, and I'll get some documentation to show you to explain that, but it is 3%
So are
that
they
you,
giving us extra or charging us extra?
they're not charging us, they end up, it's called like a premium that they give you.
We had this last time, that we got the premium back, but that would actually change the APR lower than the 2.6.
It's 3, and then it goes lower to the 2.6, so 3 is if you're asking, I would say yes, it's 3%, which is on there, and then, but the net is 2.6.
So the real number is 2.6.
But 3%, it's 3, I'll get clarification from the
So-
experts
So
on how to say
What you're
it,
saying
but
is the number is 3.6, but they're giving us 0.4 back as a premium. They're giving us the 0.4.
not 3.6, 3.
I'm sorry, 2 points, it's 3,
With
but
it-
they're giving us 0.4. They're giving us that, so we're getting that premium like last time.
Right,
Okay, so the APR for us is 2.6.
right.
I understand, thank you. Any other questions?
You have to
Okay.
read the,
Joe has to read that.
Okay.
That's the motion for Joe to read.
Mr. Espinola, whenever you're ready.
All right,
Have fun.
bless you. I, the district secretary of the Regional School District School Committee, the committee of the Greater Lowell Regional Vocational Technical School District, Massachusetts, the district, certify that at a meeting of the committee held February 16, 2017, of which meeting all members of the committee were duly notified and at which a quorum was present. The following votes were unanimously passed, all of which appear upon the official record of the committee in my custody. We voted that we hereby determine, in accordance with General Laws, Chapter 70B, that the amount of the cost of the district's high school project authorized by a vote of the committee passed on October 11, 2012, the project not being paid by the school facilities grant is $19,591,224. And we hereby approve of the issuance of notes and bonds in such amounts under said General Laws, Chapter 70B. We further voted that the sale of the $9,190,000 general obligation state qualified school bonds of the district dated February 21st, 2017, the bonds to Wells Fargo Bank, National Association at the price of $9,584,288.55 and accrued interest, if any, is hereby approved and confirmed. The bonds will be payable on December 1st of the years, and the principal amounts and bear interest as the respective rates as follows. In the year 2017 through 2031, at a percentage rate of 3%, it would be $460,000. Year 2033 would be $920,000 at 3.25%. In year 2036, at a rate of 3.5%, it'll be $1,370,000. We further voted that the bonds maturing on December 1st, 2033, and December 1st, 2036, each a term bond, shall be subject to mandatory redemption or mature as follows. The term bond due December 1st, 2033, in the year 2032, $460,000, and 2033, $460,000, which is the maturity date. And in year 2034, $460,000, 2035, $455,000, and 2036 would be $455,000, which would be the maturity date of that one. We further voted that a $310,000 portion of the net premium received by the district in connection with the sale of the bonds is hereby appropriated and shall be applied to the premium of costs to the project in accordance with Chapter 44, Section 20 of the general laws as amended, thereby reducing the amount authorized to be borrowed to pay such costs by a like amount. We further voted to approve the sale of a $1.9 million, 1.6% general obligation bond anticipation note, the note of the district dated February 22nd, 2017, and payable February 22nd, 2018, to Eastern Bank at par and accrued interest, if any, plus a premium of $5,738. We further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the bonds, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated February 7, 2017, and a final official statement dated February 14, 2017, the official statement, each in such form as may be approved by the district treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. We further voted that in connection with the marketing and sale of the note, the preparation and distribution of a notice of sale and preliminary official statement dated January 19, 2017, and a final official statement dated January 26, 2017, each in such forms as may be approved by the district treasurer, be and hereby are ratified, confirmed, approved, and adopted. We further voted that the bonds shall be subject to redemption at the option of the town upon such terms and conditions as are set forth in the official statement. We further voted that the district treasurer and the chair and the vice chair of the committee be and hereby are authorized to execute and deliver continuing disclosure and significant events disclosure undertakings in compliance with the SEC Rule 15C2-12 in such forms as may be approved by bond counsel to the district, which undertakings shall be incorporated by reference in the bonds and note, as applicable for the benefit of the holders of the bonds and note from time to time. We further voted that we authorize and direct the business administrator to establish post-issuance federal tax compliance procedures in such form as the business administrator and bond counsel deem sufficient, or if such procedures are currently in place, to review and update said procedures in order to monitor and maintain the tax-exempt status of the bonds and note. We further voted that each member of the committee, the district secretary, and the district treasurer be and hereby are authorized to take any and all such actions and execute and deliver such certificates, receipts, or other documents as may be determined by them, or any of them to be necessary or convenient to carry into effect the provisions of the foregoing votes. I further certify that the votes were taken at a meeting open to the public, that no vote was taken by secret ballot, that a notice stating the place, date, time, and agenda for the meeting, which agenda included the adoption of the above votes, was filed with the clerks of each of the member municipalities of Lowell, Dracut, Dunstable, and Tingsboro, collectively the clerks, and a copy thereof posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours and/or on the municipal buildings in which the offices of the clerks and the district secretary are located, or in accordance with an approved alternate method of notice prescribed or approved by the Massachusetts Attorney General as set forth in 940 CMR 29.03, Section 4. At least 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, prior to the time of the meeting, and remain so posted at the time of the meeting, that no deliberations or decision in connection with the sale of the bonds or the note were taken in executive session, all in accordance with Mass General Laws, Chapter 30, Section A, subsection 18 through 25, as amended. Dated February 26, 2017, District Secretary Joseph Espinola.
Very nice, Mr. Espinola.
All right, thank you.
Second by Mr. O'Hare.
I got a question on that.
You have to read it.
Yes, Mr. O'Hare.
Yeah, I just have a question. I noticed one of the,
I'm going to read it again.
no, you don't. I got a good memory. But anyway, one thing, and it might be just academic, but in the reading that you just had, it mentions that we have to have a copy posted in a manner conspicuously visible to the public at all hours
Yep.
in or on municipal buildings in which the office of the clerk and the district secretary are located.
Or an approved
Or-
alternative
Or in
method.
accordance with the approved alternative method of notice
Wherever they put
prescribed by
them.
Mass Attorney General, and we've adopted to allow email.
It's posted here on our public board that you can see from the outside.
Where, I don't know where that is.
When you come in the main door,
Yeah.
it's right there. If you, instead of coming in the main door, go a little to the side, and the board is right there with all the public notices.
You can see it from
Public
the
notices on
parking
the
lot.
top.
You mean inside the building?
Oh, out,
Yeah.
you can
Right
see it
outside the
out-
building.
The box is inside, but you see it from the outside.
Yes, but in the meantime, we have the main entrance locked. You can't get
You
in.
can see it from the outside. You don't have to come in the building to see it.
It's facing the outside.
It's okay, I've never seen that.
Oh.
Does anybody know it's there?
Yeah,
I know it's there.
Oh, I didn't know.
Need to come by more often.
Well,
that was part of,
Mr. O'Hare, I'm kidding. You're a great volunteer, so
I'm
is
serious, I'm
downstairs.
serious
No,
about this.
it is there.
Yeah, okay.
People lined out there looking.
No, I don't.
when we did the building project, they made a new box, so it's specifically, I open it from the back, put the notices and close it, and when you're outside, you can see all the
Well,
notices.
I thought I saw something outside where the security people are. But now we're on the main entrance
If you're-
coming into the building.
If you're,
And you're saying there's something
the
there
main
at
entrance
this
from the
point?
visitor parking lot, if you're facing the doors,
I'm on the main street, just coming off,
you know the door you came in, we came in tonight?
yeah.
Those doors, if you look over to the right-hand side, it's over there. And there's a big sign on it that says public notices.
Well, that's a big secret, that's a big secret to everybody, because I didn't know it, and I'm sure a lot of people who are looking for it don't know
Anybody
it's
can
there.
walk up to the property and see
Yeah,
it.
good, good.
Right.
But I think we encourage people to stay away from the front of the building, so they're not gonna see it. But I just wanted to point that out. I'm sorry.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes, I think Joe said February 26th, though. I think it's the 16th. And he did a good job, but he was tiring towards the end. So, yes.
I'm sure he stands corrected.
No, I don't.
I thought you said this.
You guys don't know me.
Mr.
the video.
Mr. O'Hare? Mr. Espinola?
Yeah.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes.
am right.
Just one question.
Mr. O'Hare, sure.
It really doesn't pertain to this, but it could. This is, Eastern Bank handles this account, all right? Are we dealing with other banks in the school?
Wells Fargo.
Wells Fargo is, no, but I mean in our daily operations. I don't think, are we dealing with them, Wells Fargo?
So this here is just for the bond, so the
That's
bond
correct.
was sold, and Wells Fargo, I guess, won the $9 million bond, and Eastern Bank won the anticipation note.
And
Now, our regular banking, we do primarily with Enterprise, I believe, and a little, and there's also a piece for Lowell 5 that we do as well,
Enterprise and 05.
with our day-to-day banking accounts.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Ms. Turner. Now we're on to old business, and Mr. O'Hare, when I mentioned to you about coming by more often, I was gonna hopefully ask you tonight if you could give us some information on the Cool Harris dedication. I know we got something in our
Yes.
mail today, and I just wanted to thank you. I know you've made a lot of phone calls to the family, and you've kept up on this, so thank you.
Well, the family is all over, I get this, the family is all over the world at this point. Some of them are in Grayson, whatever. Looking through my portfolio here, I have it here, but I have to admit that I was robbed and all my papers are gone. So I get the hint of, the Lowell Police responded very good and wished me well.
You really had,
Yeah, I had someone come back and
Insurance.
police, yeah, I have insurance, but I think everybody has to have insurance in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But no, seriously, people came down one street, got to my car. I must have left the door open. And they went in, they didn't damage any of but all the compartments were all kind of ripped open with everything gone. And I think the only thing I really miss most is my portfolio, where I have all my crib sheets and everything else. I want to be ready for you, Roger. All right, and then they went on to another street. So they know what's going on, the police know what's going on, and they're just trying to prevent all that from happening. It's kind of a scary thing now, but I'm not as organized as I should be. But yes, in reference to the dedication, we have an awful lot of, Cheryl did a lot of the legwork here in getting this done. We know what the plaque is going to be, and this is dedicated to Judge D. Cooler Harris for his length of service to Greater Lowell, technically. He also served on the Lowell School Committee for many years, but our piece of the pie is just to recognize him at Greater Lowell. We have, I think I went down there with you, Mr. Superintendent, one time. We looked at the site, everything. One of the boys, one of the in-laws is in Greece right now, but he's coming back for the dedication. And I think that'll be the next step. There's information going out to the general public, and those friends of the Cooler Harrises that are going to come are being identified. And I don't know when that will take place, but I guess we would like to plan to do this sometime after March. Because of one of the family members is in Greece at this point.
Before school's out?
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely. So we're right on schedule, and I think really there's some time delays that we may pick up on getting the correct photo put into the plaque that we want, but
This is the photo.
don't we have to get it at a certain resolution?
This is it.
Oh, okay, it's all done?
Yeah.
Excellent,
this is it.
excellent. So we're ahead of the game. The only thing now is really for I'll show that to the family, and at that particular time, they can be out getting those people that they would like to have come to the dedication in honor of Mr. Cooler Harris. So it looks good, but I think the time frame that I mentioned is what we'll shoot for, and as soon as I can hear from John, we will, put everything.
If I may, I think what we're looking for is confirmation that this is the plaque that the committee wants to go with.
Yeah.
And if that's confirmed, then we can place the order, and I think there's about a month lead time.
Yeah.
So the dedication just needs to be scheduled
Yeah.
after we receive the plaque. So
I'm sorry,
It has not been ordered because we're not sure.
Yeah.
We want to make sure that this was agreeable to
Yeah.
everybody.
I'm sorry I missed that. The only one that will not see that, because John will be the son-in-law will be missing, but I'll get a hold of Harry and some of the other.
So you're saying you want to show this to the family before we approve
Yes,
it?
yes, and I'll try to do that within the next couple of days. You know,
He's only the son-in-law.
who, John? Yeah, but
Only the
he's,
son-in-law. Harry's makes the calls.
So,
I, thank you for your advice, thank you.
All right, so, Mr. O'Hare, you're gonna check with them. Does anybody else have any comments on the plaque?
Harry was my gym teacher.
Yeah, I
think it looks good.
in sixth
It's
grade.
good?
Yeah.
Okay. So, barring no changes, if the family's good with it, then
Yeah.
I guess we go forward with it?
We did a couple of dry runs on this, and this, you know, it wasn't to this degree, but the family seemed very happy with what we showed them. So,
Very good. Thank you, Mr. O'Hare, for,
Keeping consistency with the plaques that we've done in the last couple of years.
yeah.
So are we looking for a vote, just?
I don't think so. I think we
No.
just wanted
As long as
to
there's no
see if
objection.
anybody had any
Okay.
feedback or
But I think
input.
the family's okay with the size, it's just a
Yeah.
matter of the picture and the wording,
I
right?
think
So
you just gotta
it'd be the
verify
same
that
price.
everybody's good with it, and
So should they like this,
Order it.
then they could, if you send a, electronic document to them, they could send it to the guy in Greece, probably have him take a look at it.
We're dealing with a lot of people here. I mean, if, I suppose we could do
Just
that.
so most people that they
didn't even
need to have look.
They didn't even have an electronic picture, we had to
Yeah.
do
Oh,
a
really?
photo.
I'm sure that because John, told me, you know, that he's gonna, we did a dry run of the area that this was going to be placed in, looked over, and everything seemed to be very positive. So I don't think there'd be any negativity here, and I will definitely try to get a hold of Harry. Harry is in Maine, right? Harry Quill Harris is in Maine, I believe, at the present time. John is in Greece, and and one of them is down south. She, huh?
Billie?
I don't know what Billie is, but one of Elizabeth is, she works for
let's,
the, no, they're all over
go on,
there.
because we have a lot to do,
So you'll let me
coming
know.
up.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. Mr. Bourgeois, if I could ask, the superintendent's wall, how is that coming? The superintendent's wall, as far as, unfortunately, we're gonna be adding a new
Yeah.
picture up there.
I think that the way we left that was that, wasn't there a subcommittee appointed to go down and take a look at it? There were 2 or 3 people on it. Fred, weren't you on it, along with George, myself? We just never went down to take a look at it to try and figure out what we wanted to do
Well,
with it.
let me tell you what happened on that wall. We have a plaque on the wall right now.
The superintendent's wall?
Yes, it's,
Right.
and that plaque is, as you walk into the building, the steps that go down to the CVS and that area, it's well positioned. But the thought of this was that we really didn't recognize any of the former and past superintendents of schools at this Greater Lowell. And living in Lowell, every time a mayor retires, every time but one, there is a plaque that goes on the wall recognizing the work that they have done in the city of Lowell. And we were trying to do the same thing, a committee that we had some time ago, we were trying to do the same thing and have a plaque on the wall for all those that served as superintendent at Greater Lowell. Now, one of the differences, the city of Lowell is a painted photo, but what we did here was probably made of the same materials that we're talking about on the Cooler Harris building, on the Cooler Harris plaque. And we were trying to do the same thing. There was some concern about this, and we couldn't get to the second base. Now, remember, the plaque that's on the wall right now was paid for by members of the school committee. I don't think any school funds came out for that. But there was some issues that came up. Jim Mitchell was still here at the time, and he contacted all the people that were still alive, still with us, to get some information on their father, whomever, mother, who was the superintendent at the time. We're gonna be starting up on that process again if we're gonna use, if we're gonna keep all those names up. And that's why, really, it's a wooden ball, it's a wooden wall. It's not the most attractive thing in the world, and the only plaque that we have on it now is Superintendent Collins.
So maybe if I may, if Cheryl could look up on the minutes to see who was appointed to meet to discuss it, we'll get a meeting going in a couple of weeks, whoever was, I believe, Fred, I think you were on it, along with George.
Yes.
And I was, there might have been one other, I can't
Now,
remember.
We've got a pretty busy March going
Okay.
on, so maybe
Yeah.
we can do it in April.
Yeah, the difficult part of this now is locating the people or the family members, because many of them have passed, and others are in Florida, they're all over, so that's gonna be a big effort. If we're putting the effort we are in on the Cooler Harris Memorial, and now we wanna do, all the former superintendents, that's gonna be a big,
Maybe I'm misunderstanding what we wanted with the superintendent's wall. It was just to have a plaque up there. I don't know
Yeah.
if it's gonna be a ceremony for each one, and what you're doing for Mr. Cooler Harris, I don't think it's gonna be the same. Am I wrong from our past meetings?
What we did on the Collins and,
No, I didn't mean what we did on the Collins one. I'm saying what we're doing going forward to recognize the other superintendents. I was under the impression it was on a smaller scale. We weren't going to do something like you're doing with Mr. Cooler Harris. It's just putting up a plaque.
let's put it this way. Yes, the Cooler Harris thing, we've talked about that, what we're going to do. If you want to put the names of the former superintendents, I mean, I would think that you'd want to contact someone in their family to let them know what is happening at Greater Lowell. Jim Mitchell, when he was here, looked up a lot of the information, but it became very difficult because Bob Reeder had passed. There was somebody else, Bob Reeder and the second Carpenter had passed. Incidentally, there's a little plaque in the building on Carpenter. And those two people passed, so we would never be able to reach any of their offspring. So I think it would have to,
So
if you got the plaques done, if there's somebody left in the family, if they're still in California or whatever.
let's have the subcommittee look at it then.
Yeah.
And you can come up to the board, and whoever wants to go to the meeting can. Thank you.
That's a little more difficult because of the time element.
No, the subcommittee meeting wouldn't be difficult, right?
Well, I think the results is what we're looking for.
Okay,
in any
well, let's put it to the subcommittee, we'll find out who volunteered for it, and
Yeah.
come back in April with an update.
And
Thank you.
again, the concept was
Thank you.
similar to what the city of Lowell has, only in a smaller venue.
All right, we're gonna move on. Anything else on old business? Okay, unfortunately, we have to move on to new business. As you've all received an email, that Superintendent Bourgeois is going to retire, effective August 11th, and I know due to open meeting law, we haven't been able to communicate and speak about it, but I'd like to be the first to say I'm happy for you, but greatly disappointed. You've done a fabulous job at the school. The construction project, the academics, the technology side. You're a very well-rounded person, and you've done great things for the school, so thank you.
Thank you very much.
Don't we have to accept his resignation?
Can we not accept your resignation? That would be nice. So,
I've enjoyed every minute of being here, and I'm very grateful to you for
retiring.
for appointing me to this position and for allowing me to be here the last 3.5 years. It's been most difficult decision of my life. I never thought it would be. I thought when it was time to retire, it'd be an easy decision. It was hard because I really love this place, and I love the kids, and you've been absolutely fantastic to work for. When you hired me, I said, all I want you to do is support me. I'll work hard and do a good job. I just need you to support me, otherwise I can't. And I've had your support throughout, and we've accomplished some pretty good things for the kids of Greater Lowell. And, thank you very much.
Mr. Bahu?
Just one statement. We thank you, Roger, for all the hard work and all the efforts that you put into this school between negotiating contracts and working vigorously on this building project, making sure there was extra swing space that we could use and coming under budget and really develop co-op numbers to be at 40% now, more students going out for athletic programs, taking the teachers on professional learning communities, always following guidelines, always following dates to come up with your superintendent evaluation, to come up with your superintendent goals. You worked really hard for us, and this school has done very well with MCAS scores and such, as well as our skills program. The work that you've done here, we hope we will keep that moving forward, and we just thank you for all of your hard work and all of your efforts. So, thanks.
Okay.
What he said.
Thank you. So, this is our first meeting since the superintendent announced his retirement. So, in your packets, you received the information for the last two superintendent searches that we did. Advertisement about roughly, the school district, how many people are in the district, what we service, had the salary range, application date, and contact information on it. I don't know if anybody has had any time to review and go through it and wants to have anything changed anywhere. And I'd like to hold off on the timetable. Let's now, if we can go through, we can start off with the salary requirements. We could go through anything that may be in the description that you'd want to change or add. Obviously, when we're starting our building project, it was more important to have someone with MSBA experience. Now not as much. So I'll put it out to everybody.
So we're gonna set all that stuff right now.
Yes,
We're gonna set salary, we're gonna set scopes, we're gonna set, the, posting, all that stuff,
timetable, yes,
right now.
yes.
Okay.
We're in crunch time because we really want to get all the applicants in by April, and then we have to go through the applicants, go through and see who's gonna become a semifinalist, invite the semifinalists in for interviews, then we'll have to meet again and go to finalists. Then, once we have the finalists, we'll have to visit their schools, we'll have to invite them to come to our school and take a tour, and then have a final interview with them. So it's probably a 3-4 month process starting right now, and hopefully we can have somebody in by July 1st. You have to understand, we'll be competing with other school districts, because typically, July 1st is that magic day, so.
Well, I will say this. This is a huge effort that we will be taking on, Mr. Chairman. You know that. You've been through this once or twice before. I was on the MASC website today, looking to see what school districts are advertising for superintendents and the such. And the good news is most of their application deadlines have come and gone. So if some of the pools of candidates were not able to prosper well enough to make it to the finals on their superintendent searches, they may very well become, they may very well begin to put in their applications for here. So time is of the essence. This is a very big task, and I think the very last thing that I want to do is rush through this. So, let's give it our full effort as best as we can right now, but to go ahead and rush through it may be something that I may.
Oh, I hope I wasn't putting that we'd be rushing it. This is why we sent out the information in the packet, so you'd all have it, and we could come to the meeting tonight and discuss our ideas and set this up. So no, I'm not looking to rush. I also don't want to procrastinate. I know vacation is next week, and with vacations coming up the following week, I wanted to have all the members here.
Right.
Mr. Gigi?
I don't know the protocol. Is this something that should be better handled in executive session where we're talking salary ranges and strategy and then come back out into the public forum once we've made a decision on what the salary range is going to be? And
I actually asked the superintendent to check, and there's no when we're negotiating the superintendent's salary, once we pick somebody, we can go into executive session. We can go into executive session to review the candidates that come in because it's considered confidential at that time. And then we'll put out a request for the semifinalists if we choose to have, let's say, 5 semifinalists. I'm going to go off last times, and we can change this. Then we've asked them, would you be okay coming to an interview in public? So the only times we can really go into executive session are to whittle down the applicants when we see them, and then for the negotiation for the superintendent. All the other negotiations about the semifinalists, if they're out in public, we will be deliberating in public, their strengths and weaknesses.
Until his name's attached, that's correct.
Right, so as far as discussing the salary range, there's nothing that I'm aware of that we can, or we should. And Cheryl said she confirmed with Mike Long tonight, so.
Well, yeah, right, we don't have to, but there could be some things that people want to bring up that, about salaries and about different things. Now, I'm looking at this last posting, it says that there is a superintendent search committee that Mr. Olson was on. Are we gonna have a superintendent search committee?
The search committee consisted of all 8 school committee people.
Of the whole?
Yep.
It was a committee, last time, Joe, it was the committee of the whole. Victor was the chair of the committee, so it was a committee of the whole. That's one of the things we need to discuss tonight, if we want to go forward with that.
It
Do the same
seems to me
process.
we should start with that, don't you? Don't you think that we start from the top down? Get a committee, talk about the salary. There's some things in the posting of the anticipated qualifications that I think we're gonna need to change. Not that I want to, we're gonna need to, just based upon what I can see going on out there in the regional school world. There's gonna be, we're gonna need to make some adjustments to the last posting.
Right, that's,
Yeah,
well, we
so,
can decide that tonight. We're here as a committee of the whole. Does everybody want to go forward with, so the options are, you can hire a selection committee. You can hire,
we're not hiring a selection committee. I oppose that. Anybody else?
I'm giving out the options, so.
We have a committee. We're gonna designate a committee with a chair, and then we're gonna go from there, I think. Isn't that what you did last time?
Last time it was all 8 school committee members, and Mr. Olson, when the process started, was the chairman of the board,
Yeah.
as Mr. Booton is now, so he was named the chair of the search. When April 1st hit and he was no longer the chairman, I don't remember who was the next chairman. Paul was. The committee as a whole agreed to leave Mr. Olson as the chairman of the search because he had started the process. But there was not a subcommittee of only 3 or 4 school committee members, all 8.
No, we all have to be
So,
involved in
Mr.
it.
Espinola, I'm only giving the options that are out there, that what possibly could happen. And if 5 of the members decide they want to do a selection committee, then that's what we're going to do. If 5 of the members want to do a subcommittee, then that's what we're going to do. I personally am not in favor of a selection committee. We are, we've been elected in to search for a superintendent, to hire a superintendent. I think we did a great job at the last superintendent search, hiring, so does anybody have an interest in having a selection committee? Okay. Anybody want to do it as a subcommittee?
I'll say something about a selection committee. I know that a selection committee could cost as much as $30,000 to $40,000. I know that many of us have done this before, Mr. Tatius, Mr. Espinola, Mr. O'Hare, Mr. Moore, Mr. Booton. I think we came up with, I know Mr. LeMay picked a city manager once or twice. I know Mr. Giggy is a very smart individual who practices law and does real estate, and Mr. Espinola has always been a strong person as far as trying to develop the best situations for any, developing the thought of any leader of our communities. With that being the case, I would say that we are very knowledgeable and able to run this selection committee on our own and do it cost efficiently as well as in a timely fashion with lots of experience.
Okay, so we're in agreement? Okay. Let's talk about the, did you want to speak, Mr. O'Hare?
Yes, but if, basically, all I was going to say is that there's a lot of things that we have to go through. And, you know, if we are thinking of going through all those tonight, I don't think we could do it. You know, you've got an awful lot of, there are some things that are going to be pretty much the same. Okay, and I wonder if we should try to get those things out of the way. A lot of them are administrative, you know, when should we get the applications in, when, who's eligible? Cheryl did a wonderful job during the last selection of the superintendent, because there's a lot of information in here from the last, could be used, and a lot that really you don't want to use. We've had some experience on that. Should we have a special meeting just for all the requirements that we would like for the superintendents? If so, why don't we, you know, I mean, we looked over this, but I don't think everybody looked over as deep as we should or could, and just kind of bring this up to date with dates that will apply to what we want to do with a new superintendent coming in, what the requirements we are going to establish for the candidate that is looking to be a superintendent. And also, the voting, the early voting on a superintendent, so we can level that playing field down to a reasonable number that we can operate with. There's a lot of things, I'm not too sure how much we could accomplish tonight if we want to do that. But I mean, those are the things that, I hate to say this because it puts an awful lot of work on our secretary, and she has done a wonderful job in that in the past, but if we could kind of follow that format, I think we'd be ahead of the curve on exactly what we want to do. I don't know what your feeling is.
Well, my feeling is I wanted to do it tonight. That's why I asked
all
Cheryl
right,
to get
okay.
everything in there tonight. I'm hearing from some members that they want to do a special meeting. I will say that I'm away next week. It's vacation week. I know my colleague and I were just speaking, Mr. Lemay, and he's leaving on the 28th, right?
Tuesday, yeah.
Tuesday, the 28th. So we're in crunch time. And I figured tonight would be, we had everybody here already. So, I'll, as I said before with Mr. Espinola, when I was saying about do we have a selection committee, I'll agree to whatever the committee agrees on. If everybody's interested, I think that Monday, the 27th would be a date, if everybody can make that, or if they want to do it now, we can stay now. Mr. Moore?
Mr. Chairman, I really didn't think that, I mean, I understand you know, you sent this agenda out, you know, in the agenda, and that I thought it was just for us to take a quick preview of. Also, I didn't spend a lot of time on it, but I think in the past, we were aware that we were gonna need a superintendent when we sat down and wrote all this up. It wasn't like sent to us and it was overnight. I think it needs to, it can't be settled tonight. I think it's in our minds now. We know what needs to be done. I understand you're in a time crunch. You're gonna be going, he's gonna be going. But, you know, and then that could give us some time to figure out the dates. And if there are some things, as Mr. Espinola says, we might have to change some of these things. And then, you know, we could consider the, you know, the salary and that separately. You know what I mean?
Okay, who's in favor? Can I show of hands, who's in favor of doing the 27th?
Is that a Monday?
I have a majority.
It's a Monday, yes.
I can do it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds good, raise your hand. That'll be all 8 of us. That'll be all.
Sounds,
February 27th.
7-1, that's fine.
What time would be
What time's
best?
good for everyone?
Well, let's plan on being here for a few hours.
5,
That's
Five?
right, yeah.
5 would be difficult for me. I
5:30?
believe we have a meeting on February 28th as well, do we not?
Yes, finance subcommittee for the budget.
So, let's consider 6 PM might be better for me, if that's okay with the overall group here.
Well, let's say we could start it at 5 if some come in at
You
different.
know, I'd like everybody to be here. If Mr. Bahu's not gonna be here. Mr.
I
Bahu,
had a very
5:30?
difficult time getting here for 5:30 today.
Okay, so 6 o'clock?
Well, 5:30 will work. Let's go with 5:30.
I mean, everybody's time is valuable. If we're not gonna do 5:30, it could be a long night, it could be a few hours.
Either or for me.
So 5:30?
I mean, you can make it 8 o'clock, I don't care, I just think that,
Yeah, it's 5:30 is good? You're up next, Mr. O'Hare. I just want to get confirmation. Everybody good for 5:30 on the 27th? Okay, it'll be a public meeting. Thank you, Mr. O'Hare. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I just want to, just getting ready for this task. There are many, I think it took us about 5 months, 4 months to go through, if I remember right. Yeah, about, it's actually 5 to 6 months to go through this. But there's a lot of data that we can get together using what we have as a matrix of things that you can do.
It's a good template right here.
Exactly, and a lot of those, and exactly, that's what I'm saying, a lot of those have to be updated, but if we get those pieces together, then I think it will be easier for us to understand what our role is, all right? And then we can, which includes telling the general public what it is that we're looking for, some description of Greater Lowell Technical High School, and also qualifications necessary, et cetera, et cetera. And those are pretty standard. And then somewhere in there, we have votings to eliminate the numbers, depending on how many we get, to a certain level, and then we can start really voting on the person. So that,
Okay,
I think,
great.
Can I say something?
Yeah, Ms. Gosselin?
So the first item is the ad that was in the newspaper the last time.
Yeah.
I talked to Mike Gilbert from MASC.
Yeah.
Yesterday or the day before, and he said that, his opinion, print advertising is a thing of the past. That most school districts are not putting ads in the newspaper, it's a waste of money. He said that your best resources would be the free online resources such as MASC, MASS, MAVA, and School Spring.
School Spring.
schools,
I think we get
School
it.
Spring is where we did the last time.
yeah.
He said that he just did a search for Stoneham, Stoneham. 45 applicants they received, not one ad in the newspaper. He said that we could submit to them the brochure that we have. They will put it on their website. There can be a link to our website for the application package, because it's, our package is electronic. I think that was all.
I think that's a good bang for our buck. doing it
Right.
that way.
And then the one thing that Mr. Bourgeois pointed out was our previous trifold, it was trifold on the outside, but it was 4 on the inside. So when you folded it, it didn't look professional. So that maybe we could try, like Fred, you have some of the same ones I pulled off of MASC's website. Maybe try to get the columns so it's 3 on the inside as well.
Yeah, sure, it would be nice to go ahead and dress
Right.
it up and make it very
And
easy
add
to
add a few
follow,
graphics
legible,
to
So
it.
when people print it,
Right.
that they will have a nice trifold they can look
Yes.
at, as well as
Okay.
have a nice guidance.
Exactly, something that's much more professional looking, and, and this
And our
was,
previous one
this
was
was the one from the open house. That Mr. Bourgeois actually designed this one from the open house. It's got the school colors, it's got a picture of the school, and it's got a few graphics so that it's just not all words.
I think that's all something.
So
we can
Cheryl's
talk
gonna
about
tie in
at the committee as a
to
whole.
one of my things. I would, I've asked the superintendent for his help. He's offered to be gracious and help with some of the marketing materials, some of the knowledge that he has. He did share Shawsheen's last search with me, some of their paperwork that they've done. So I think our current superintendent can be a great resource for us. So I've asked him to help, and I hope you'd consider that. My other I spoke to committee member Gigi about leading this if we did go with a committee of the whole, as to ask him to be the chairperson for the search. My time is, I don't have a ton of extra free time. He said it was something that he could do, and if you're all in agreement, I would like to ask Mr. Gigi if he would be the chair of the search committee.
I would do it, but it's my first search.
Understand that.
So,
You
yeah.
have our support, but there's a lot of phone calls and follow-up that I'm just not able to do as I would like to do, as I usually do things. I don't have that time to do it the right way, and I think you would be able to.
I'd welcome the opportunity.
Any show of hands? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think it'd be great, actually, and, you know, I could also assist you too. I wouldn't want to take that lead on, but, you know, I could assist you.
Thank you.
So just like that, the school committee,
I welcome everybody's input.
You know, pass it off, can you call, can you do this, you know?
being our
you.
delegate.
Pass the buck, you know?
You're now our delegate.
I have,
I'm not doing the delegate next year.
I haven't done any searches either, so, you know, but I know that Curtis has done some significant searches, and he'd be valuable as well, too. So Ray's been through one, Paul, George, Freddie. So
6.
I think that between the bunch of us, you know, we should be able to run through this.
Cheryl, too.
If it
I'd
helps,
welcome
yeah.
if it
input
helps,
from
I'll do 90% of the
Look,
work.
Okay.
Of the phone calling and the tracking things down and
Yep.
Oh,
setting
you
the
do that?
interviews. I do all of that.
Geez, I'm gonna love you.
We know how valuable,
You're not gonna believe
you
it.
don't know how valuable Cheryl is until you work with her directly.
And
You
you can
can
just,
see how organized she is already.
Okay,
And you
Mr.
can-
Lemay, you got a question or comment?
well, I just wondering if the committee is successful early on and your successor, Roger, would you be eligible or available to get involved with a little transition?
No, I mentioned to some of you, I will do whatever I can to make this a seamless, smooth transition and for my successor to be successful. Whatever you need me to do,
Okay.
I am more than happy to do. We've worked really hard these last 3 years, and we're heading in the right direction, and I'm very, very interested in making sure that it's a
I
seamless
think your knowledge is
transition.
valuable.
It's working. Yeah, no, I-
Regardless of who succeeds you, but I think it would be in his or her best interest to,
And Ray mentioned that if you're able to get somebody on board for July 1, then there'd be 5 weeks that we'd be here together. If not, I can still stick around for a while. You know, I'm gonna do whatever needs to be done to ensure that this is successful, I will do.
thank you.
You're welcome.
So if we need an interim superintendent,
You don't need one. I'll stay as long as you need me to
you'd
stay.
be willing to do
Yeah,
that?
no, I don't, I want this to be smooth. You know, I'm retiring on the 11th, but I'm not making any plans till I'm sure that someone's in place and they're all ready to go, okay? Keeping my calendar
So if
open.
you stayed another year, show of hands, who would feel that would be smoother? Anyways, Mr. O'Hare, you had a question?
yeah, not a question, but based
Comment?
on the, and if that's the case, Kempton is going to do that, we're gonna try to keep it into a time frame that we can elect someone at whatever the date is, July, August. But, I mean, I've been looking over this package that we had before. Most of that is pretty standard, I think. There's, would have to be some adjustments, but if we follow that guideline,
Dates.
I think, well,
The
dates have to be
salary.
changed, yeah, salary. But if we can follow that and not to put too much work on Cheryl, but I mean, you pick out what is passé at this point and, you know, pretty much follow this, because I thought that was a very good, it worked last time, so,
And we can also follow what they're currently
Yeah.
doing for other superintendents.
yeah.
Yes. Right.
And some other school districts across the Commonwealth.
Sure.
So there's, you know, there's plenty of work to do.
The only good thing is everything that was posted on MASC's website was all academic. There was no technical
There was,
schools.
there was, yeah, there was.
So
that-
that's a
correct.
good thing, because right now, there wasn't a lot of technical schools looking for a superintendent.
Yeah, at the end of the day, when we advertise them, I would say applications will probably be due sometime in April, that, you'll get a good amount of applications. And I think we'll be very happy.
Because that's the biggest thing, is they have to be vocational licensed. academic, they can't be, if they're academic, but they're licensable as a vocational, then it's okay, but for the
So,
most part, they're
say that one
not.
more time. If
They
you're,
have to be a vocational licensed
Yes.
superintendent. If they're an academic, they have to be licensable as a vocational superintendent.
Yep.
So they have to have worked in a vocational
Environment.
environment. And most of the last time, every academic person that applied, none of them were licensable.
Yeah, we had
They
that.
had never worked in a
50
vocational setting.
Oh.
If you remember, Fred,
well,
We had 15 applications and we threw out 6 to 7
we
immediately.
threw out, right.
let me ask one question on that, licensable. What if someone is taking courses to be licensed? They're still not licensed.
No, they
Okay,
they
so
have to
I think
be
you
able
had
to
to.
submit their license at that date.
Okay.
Well, we can
get it.
talk about that.
Same as before.
Well,
Yep.
as Mr. Bahu said, that can change if we want
Right,
to
we
speak
can
on
talk
it, but
But it comes down to, you know,
Well, what's the
if
pool?
they've worked
What's
in a
out there?
vocational
Right.
school.
Well, that's the problem. We're gonna be stuck with,
You're locked.
we're gonna be stuck with what's required and what we want and what we are willing to say, okay, licensable, or not licensable, maybe at some points, or some aspects of their, academics, they will not be available to fit DESI's requirements, which they might fit ours, should we bend a little bit on our requirements, but there's some things that DESI won't allow it, so that's why I'm saying, I'm looking at some of the things that I was cross-referencing back and forth, and there was some things that we were asking for last time where aren't required for with DESI, but there's some things that it's just, there's no bending, it has to be done.
The license is pretty much standard, Jim.
Those are the warrants, yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
This is-
let's move on. We're going to have the meeting on the 27th.
So can we or can we not hire Marty Meehan?
I just talked to Marty yesterday, and he's doing
Yeah,
pretty
he has no
good. Doing pretty
vocational
good.
experience.
As long as he has no
Time to
pretty
do
good.
both.
But he is interested in the salary.
Okay, let's move on, everybody.
He came from our parish.
And housing and.
I'm going to pass the gavel. Is the next committee person motions is my motion.
Motion by Mr. Booton for a report from the superintendent on the district use of print and social media in advertising the school for enrollment. Update to include the use of paid social media for attracting students and parents.
Second.
Motion, second.
Second.
Thank you. As I said, I'm just looking for a report. I noticed Dracut had done a great job with their print advertising and with their social media for their high school. I know that the charter school also does something similar, Lowell Community Charter School in the Innovation Academy. I don't know if you know, but when you go on to, say, Home Depot, when you're looking for a leaf blower, and you jump to a different website, Home Depot's popping up in front of you. It's my understanding that those ads are very low cost, can be tagged for certain communities. You can hit Lowell, Dracut, Tingsboro, Dunstable. You can hit by age groups. I'm hoping that we can look at, I know kids are doing mostly Instagram now and Snapchat, Twitter. The parents are probably more on the Facebook pages. And then there's also, you know, when you go onto the Lowell Sun, you see, because you were on Home Depot, there's now an ad from there. So it's getting to a point where it cross ties to each other. Once you go to a website to search for something, so if a parent's going to a website looking for high schools, local high schools, and they put in Lowell or Tingsboro, that gets tagged, and then Facebook, Instagram, and any other website they go to, and it's very low-cost money. So I've asked the superintendent if he can give a report back just to state what the cost would be and something we should consider next time, where we've got our app, we've got our website, and we're always looking to get our name out. So.
You
I'm
know,
sorry.
I don't mean to jump in here, but at the convention that we went to a seminar that was all websites. That function is gonna be breaking down to 2 champions. All the others are gonna fade away. May not be tomorrow, but that's some are better than the other. And that's what's happening in that fast information period of time.
So when you say paid social media, you're looking at the pay per click?
Correct.
Mr.
We'd
Bahu?
like to get a price
Mr. Bahu, you had a question?
No question, motion to approve. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry.
He made the
Yeah,
motion.
right, he made the
you
motion.
seconded
My
it.
mistake.
Sorry.
That-
Ready?
Oh, it's up to Paul.
Ready?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
No. I'll have that ready.
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes.
I'll have that ready for you in September.
That was good.
Wow.
Already
Moving at the
started.
speed of the internet. You'll still be here, so it won't be a problem. Next, report of the subcommittees. I'll entertain a motion for approval of the January 12th, 2017 Greater Lowell Technical High School Building Committee report
So moved.
by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Gigi.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes.
We have to vote on the change order and amendment to KBA's contract for $140,000.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to vote on the change order for $140,000 to KBA's contract by Mr. O'Hare, second by Mr. Tatsias.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes. Next, I'd entertain a motion for approval of the February 6, 2017 Greater Lowell Technical High School Alumni Subcommittee Report by Mr. Moran, second by Mr. Espinola.
Raise your right
Mr.
hand.
Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes,
We already did change order?
excuse me.
We voted on the change order.
That's what we just voted.
Entertain a motion to adjourn.
To go into executive
Oh,
session.
sorry, we have to go into executive session
It won't be
to
long.
speak about negotiations. Motion by Mr. Tatsias, second by Mr. Gigi.
Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Moran?
Yes.
Mr. Tatsias?
Yes.
Mr. Gigi?
Yes.
Mr. O'Hare?
Yes.
Mr. Espinola?
Yes.
Mr. Bahu?
Yes.
Mr. Booton?
Yes.